जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम 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 जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram O 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Hare Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai 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 Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram
जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम 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 श्री राम राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om to everybody. Pranam, Pranam, Pranam. Sometime during the year 2018, Papa prompted us to bring out a small book called Sadhaka and Sadhana. We will go through that. All those things have been told to us many a times, but repeatedly hammering, drawing our attention to various facets of sadhana that might help us in our spiritual journey. Though we may know everything intellectually, something prevents us from taking a concerted effort to scale the heights. So these are all the methods, along with Ramnam chanting, along with trying to lead a righteous life, along with our attempts to bring in the God dimension behind our activities as much as possible. So constantly hammering these ideas will help us, because it has to percolate into our thinking system. It is there in our thinking system. We are all trying to live up to that. But somewhere a sense of insufficiency, sense of inadequacy, sense of incompleteness, we still feel, So that is why he is prompting us to take up all these. It starts with Papa's very powerful quotation: spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere about us. In a capsule form, he gives us this, We are checking up whether we have understood this, first intellectually, and then whether we are putting efforts. Because normally there is a notion in us that there are spiritual activities, there are worldly activities. In that process, we exclude the worldly activities from the realm of spirituality. That is why we find it difficult, because we have to be in the midst of worldly activities, the so-called labeled worldly activities. So we get a doubt very often whether withdrawing ourselves completely from the worldly activities, is it necessary? So these words of Papa, it might throw some light, provided we look back to our own life, and even though we were not realizing that it was God's will working through us, now slowly the light will be clear. That though we were not aware, He has been guiding us from stage to stage, and at the appropriate time He took us to the spiritual preceptor who made us aware that everything happens only by His will. And then when we try to go along that path, the old habits again block us. So that's why we have to reread all this. Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. So bereft of this worldly life, we don't have another life. Now it is clear that this has to be integrated with. Harmoniously, we should blend the spiritual aspect in our worldly activities. Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world. It's a very powerful word. And is acting through every one of us. God is in the world, so there is no space where He is not. He is also therefore He is also within us. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. So the divide has been demolished now. If at all we have any such notion, this will the JCB, it will demolish. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. Yesterday we read Gandhiji's words, He is not apart from humanity. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us, everywhere about us. I think probably now we are very clear about the roadblock. We know that we have not started this life. A little in-depth study will reveal to us. Because this present me and mine was not there at the seed level, very clear to us all. So true spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere about us. This we would have failed. When we are in the presence of saints, when we go through scriptures, biological sketches, when we attend to bhajan, nam japa, swadhyay, at that time something wells up in our heart that connects us with the divine. Immediately after that program or session, we feel we are back to square one. That means the sense of individuality. So here Papa says, true spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us, everywhere around us. Each one has to approach this in their own way, in one's own way. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere about us. This is the biggest struggle. When we handling our household duties, when we go to the field of profession, and when we involve ourselves in various duties assigned to us, and when we move with our friends, have we been able to remember this? So what should I do during my intense prayer, Nam Japa, Swadhyay? How to ensure that I don't feel his absence, even when I am involved in family life, professional life, social life. I think this particular one gives us some clarity. And we have to devise our own method. Some guidelines have been given by masters. Very often seekers intensely feel the need to transform from the level of a devotee to that of a bhakt sadhaka. Though everyone who regularly visit ashrams do have faith in God and Guru, many a times the real purpose of associating with such institution is, as propounded by the masters, is unknowingly sidelined. When Mataji said that this is a school for all of us to learn universal love and service, have we taken it? The other day, Papa made us to dwell on the ideal of the ashram. Universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity. Mutual love and service we try to practice here. Always remember that God is our guide, help. And the fourth one is to take this as our home. This is what Papa said on 15th May 1931 at the time of inauguration. Most of us were not born at that time. So when we came in contact with Papa, nobody told us anything about this. Only after when we started going through in the vision of God, and when we reached the portion called Kasaragod at the fag end, there it has been brought out by Papa, the message. Only from that period we started thinking about it. If we go back to the period when we started coming to ashram, this one was not given to us. So naturally we developed our own concepts about ashram, about our gurus, about spiritual disciplines, even about nama chanting. And suddenly when he makes us to become aware of the ideal of the ashram as spelled out by Papa, we are trying to understand whether we have been living up to that. We were not knowing. God did not make us to know about this at that time. We now feel our though Papa had his own reasons why he did not make us know, we still feel not knowing this purpose of this ashram, the mission of this ashram. Because when somebody comes here, they straight away start experiencing something, a pleasant feeling. Though they may not be very clear. The calmness, the quietude, the bubbling joy that one gets in hearing Ramnam, in chanting Ramnam, and the loving touch of our masters, loving touch of our devotees. All these things have its own sway, no doubt about it. But still, the moment many people, including us, whenever we come here, we great joy. But the moment we get into the auto rickshaw or taxi to go back to the railway station, we cannot say that it had a deep impact. Whatever our lifestyle was, it continued. That is why we still feel the roadblock. So every time when at the appropriate time he said he would reveal, okay. And then he made us to go through these words. And in that word also, immediately when we strike, we did not have these 4 points in our mind. But later on an in-depth study revealed that his inaugural message contains everything that is to be known. Because the vision of divinity means vision of the common factor in us. If I have to maintain the vision of common factor, I must remember. I must have a clear-cut concept about the source. I must have the clear-cut concept about how to maintain that remembrance. All those things come. Though it is an innocent expression, it is very sublime, profound. Similarly, the Lord is our help in all matters. That has been emphasized. The only one is God. Oh. So I must keep on checking up with my life. How He made us to pass through various types of experiences, which at that time I named it as positive or negative, depressing or elevating. And now sitting now, we may be able to say, oh, He has been guiding. Again we forget. And third, the mutual love and service, So when we are here, we have to develop that mutual love and service. We need not tom-tom, but in our heart. And finally, home. So we tried our level best to understand what He meant. Then we understood, when we say we are going home, first of all, when we go on leave, and then we go back to our home, what is it that feeling, It can't be expressed. To go back to our home, a belongingness and an inexplicable pleasant feeling, And when we go there, our attention will not be on any omissions or commissions. We are free from grumblings and complaints. If there is anything to be done, we try to do whatever is possible for us. The otherness will get reduced. Home means otherness will not be there much. So these 4 points, beautifully brought out by Papa on 15th May. So when he gave us an opportunity to know about it, probably an in-depth study would definitely make us aware of the right perspective, right attitude with which we should continue our spiritual disciplines. Very often seekers intensely feel the need to transform from the level of a devotee to that of a sadhaka. 2 types, sadhaka and a devotee. Devotee has got faith, he has got a direct contact with God, but most of the demands will be for his comfortable life or freedom from pain, freedom from tension. It is not exclusively for God remembrance. Whereas in the sadhaka's place, it is for exclusive remembrance. So very often seekers intensely feel the need to transform from the level of a devotee to that of a sadhaka. Though everyone who regularly visit ashrams do have faith in God and Guru, many a times the real purpose of associating with such institution, as propounded by the masters, is unknowingly sidelined. Beloved Papa Swami Ramdas, the founder saint of Anandashram, based on his own experience and in his own inimitable ways, provides certain guidelines on some important aspects of sadhana through many of his writings. The essence of these inspiring hints are culled out and brought out in the small booklet in the first section. The second section contains 5 powerful and enlightening articles of Beloved Papa on sadhana. Earnest seekers may find it useful to pause after reading each article, reflect on the theme, live with it. This is more important than reading the whole booklet in one go. That is how the book starts. So first section, need to become a sadhaka. All of us are blessed with love and devotion and a desire to have God vision. Desire alone won't do. Our aspiration to realize the truth must be fiery and our sadhana well disciplined. Instead of being merely devotees, we must turn into real sadhakas. Devotees are those who are devoted to God but aspire mainly for worldly things. They are not generally keen to have anything higher, whereas sadhakas aspire only for God. The first quality necessary for the sadhaka when he strives to realize God is a heroic spirit. He should not have lukewarm enthusiasm and a timid march on the path because they prolong the struggle, often ending in uncertainty and disaffection. We also have to ensure not to seek peace and freedom in external circumstances of life because our true freedom is of the mind only. Let the knocks and hits of life turn us more and more towards God so that we can become impervious to all kinds of outside attack upon us. Insulation. No? Therefore, let us be earnest in employing all the resources of our being to advance toward the supreme goal. May our thoughts, words, and deeds have a background of divine consciousness. It is to be remembered that unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. Most of the words are Papa's, only 1 or 2 maybe. It is to be remembered that unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. So first para about the sadhaka and devotee. Devotees have faith, but mostly they ask for a comfortable life. Righteous life, no doubt, a comfortable life. But in the case of a sadhaka, he wants only God. And for this, we have to keep the same tempo. That is where we all fail, no? At times, it becomes very, very serious. Suddenly, it gets deflated. Foo. And again, we take time. Something else is necessary to boost the morale. So that has been touched upon. And we should know that if we seek anything from joy or peace or this quietude or whatever we have named it as God, from outside, it will be in vain. And finally he says, unless we link our life with the divine author of our being. So now how to keep up that link, From morning till night, at times we used to feel the link. But when we are involved in various types of activities, do we maintain that link? Only that person will be able to say. This is something on which we have to keep on thinking. Unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, the life is in vain. And he gives us 4 points. Steadily we have to practice concentration of thought on God until we feel His nearness. The first step is to feel His nearness. Until we become aware of His presence. Until we have the vision of Him everywhere about us. Until we realize our oneness with Him. Nearness, presence in everybody, and to become one with Him. Some guidelines.
Manager?
Ah.
Oh. We are like that rat in the door hinges, Swamiji. Neither here, now it is not possible for us to go back to normal life, not whichever was there before. But at the same time, I know I'm not in the second step.
So we have to bring out some in between, a methodology that suits us, Because first of all, whether we have realized it or not, we understand, we have faith in the words of our Master, and the Master says we have not actuated our life. God has actuated our life, and He has His mission through us. He gave us freedom in the form of sense of individuality, and with that freedom, we lost contact with Him. And then at the appropriate time, He makes us to get in touch with a spiritual master. For a few moments, we get charged. We try to go along. But again, the tempo we were not able to keep up because of our old concepts, old perspective. Again, we get in touch with. Now, for example, for the past 2 years now after the corona, this Google Meet, for example, every day 1 hour, he is conveying to us through many of his writings, real purpose, roadblocks, how to get over. We may fail, we may forget, but still he keeps on pumping. So instead of feeling that we are neither here nor there, the reality is we are moving toward the goal. So we don't have to feel frustrated about it. The very fact that we are trying to go through this, to do Nam, to do bhajan, to do this reflection, manna, to enter into the sublime teachings of Papa, it's all His grace and grace only. And it assures us that He is holding our hands. So none of us need feel dispirited. And we don't have to think that the life so far lived was in vain. No. That life only has made us to get in touch with spiritual masters, made us to understand something about spirituality, something about the goal of life, something about the sadhana. We don't have to compare our life with anybody else, because each one of us are unique. Each one of us have to work out our own prarabdha. In the midst of all these limitations, He is still making us to know that He is holding our hands. So the last four, 2-3 things we have to, so we have to bring in His dimension. That is what He meant when He said, unless we link our life with the divine author of our being, through chanting, through remembrance, through reflection, as much as possible. We may not be able to do 24 hours, 18 hours or 16 hours, no. As much as possible. He doesn't expect us to do in a particular form. Because we are His own product. The so-called limitation also is given by Him only. Within that circle, within that freedom He has given. Initially He made us to fix our target on external, ephemeral. Now slowly, after making us to spend some time there, He is pulling us back and trying to concentrate upon the eternal. Our old habits may drive us again, doesn't matter. And then He gives us a practical formula after telling us. So first we have to start feeling His nearness. How do we do that? Each one has to try. In his case, we knew that he was having a permanent dialogue with Him. The whole book, if we go through In Quest of God, how many times he has addressed? 400? Ram?
448. 448.
More than 400 times. So that means that he was able to keep up that, no? Even while subjecting him to go through trying experiences. And when he came back, when he started writing the second book, which is called At the Feet of God, it is purely a soliloquy. The link, that means the nearness. So he gives us a clue. Nearness can be made a reality by having a regular communion with Him. Kindly think about it. What language we should do, how we do it, it's all one's own. We cannot follow anybody's. But broad guideline is there. That first we have to develop the nearness. Nearness comes when we think about Him, no? You think about a person, he is near to you mentally. So remembering Him in as many ways as possible. nearness. And then he says that should take us to the next stage called his presence within us. At least we will hear now one thing. When we closely watch our heartbeat, during our hectic period or during our retreat period, we try to watch how do I function as an individual. No? I function as an individual because the life force is in me. And he is there in the form of life force. So first intellectually we understand like any other matter. Then we try to feel the blood circulation, to feel the heartbeat, to consciously feel the inhaling, exhaling. Many of you or some of you might remember 10 or 15 years back when we had our year-end program, Chandu immediately suggested one method that we will all close our eyes and count 10 times of our breathing. When that was attempted, and the revelations after that, somebody said, we know now that we are breathing. Second thing, the mind is not going anywhere because you have to count. Second thing, there is an inexplicable, pleasant feeling. Like that, so many things came out. So now we add one more, How does that breathing takes place? How does the oxygen go in? Excess of carbon dioxide goes out, which is very, very vital for our very existence. So there could be so many methods. This could be one method. So first is a dialogue, and second is to understand his presence first. Third and fourth, we leave to our efforts, because that is the outcome of the sadhana. Seeing him in everywhere. Intellectually we know, when we know that we exist because of this heartbeat, it must be the same thing to everybody. We can understand intellectually. And the fourth one, agreed, there are many moments when we have become one with others. In the form of compassion. At that time, it was between our individuality and that individual. We did not bring in the God dimension. Now slowly we are trying to understand what happened at that time. One example, we are working it out for our newsletter. There was an auto rickshaw driver in Bangalore called Shiva. One day, one Arshad, what is it? Good. What is his name? Arshad, okay. Arshad, he was having a laptop. He was traveling in the auto rickshaw. He forgot to take the laptop. After some time he realized, by the time the auto rickshaw has gone. He was worried about the data that had been stored. So he immediately went to the police station and lodged a complaint. Not complaint, no, lodged this, if it's possible. So the constable said it is very difficult, but he said it is possible. And he went back. In the night, he gets a call from this auto rickshaw driver, Shiva, that your laptop, I have found it. Yeah, I have kept it. Tomorrow morning I will come and give it to you. 19 kilometers he had to come to hand over this. Yes, now, the moment, what prompted Shiva to contact him? Shiva could immediately identify himself totally with this Harshad, the tension, the anxiety to have it. So we became one with him. That is why he thought he should immediately telephone. Otherwise, he could have waited for the next day and handed it over. No. How did he get the telephone number? How did he get this? All those things are questions. So he must have had a contact with him. He would have kept the laptop somewhere on the side. In that process, they developed an affinity, or the police station would have, because he has got the contact number. When they send a general circular to everybody, or a general, what do you call, public message, so he must have heard this. And then somehow he could gauge, okay, now that the person I have identified, he must be definitely in tense situation, because the laptop contains so many data. So the moment he became one with him, he could understand, and then he knew if he telephoned, he'll be at peace. He telephones. Next day he hands it over. And that day he also said, somebody had forgotten a bag containing 40 lakhs. And the same Shiva was able to identify that person and gave him back. So that means becoming one with. So these are all something which makes us understand it is possible for all. It's not a tall talk. An act of compassion means becoming one with. Saha Anubhuti, in Malayalam we say, same, I feel one with it. When somebody loses his steps, falls, immediately we see him falling, immediately we go and stretch our hand or anything support to ensure that he doesn't fall and try to help him. What happened at that time? We became one with him. Our intellect did not play any role there. If intellect had played, we would not be doing that, because the intellect will say, will you be able to hold him? You will also fall. And by the time you would have already fallen. So it was a spontaneous.
Same word in Marathi also. Sahanubhuti.
India Sahanubhuti. Saha Anubhuti, correct. Correct. So now we understand when Papa says, we become, until we feel his nearness, until we become aware of his presence, this is how we try to understand. Otherwise it is a textual declaration. So we try to now link it with the experiences he has given. Because we know now, because he is the actuator, he has done everything with a purpose. I was not aware of the purpose. I did not feel his presence. I only saw from individual to individual. My gratitude towards that individual remains. My sense of closeness with him remains, but I have not brought God into the picture. Now we try to bring God into the picture. So all of us, let's say the Papa's that beautiful quotation, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. So far life lived by us has given us a lot of lessons. Many lessons we were able to retain in our memory. Many are the guiding principles in our life. Everything is okay, but one fundamental thing we have missed, that it was between an individual to individual. Suppose a boss, the boss recognizes what I have done. The boss congratulates me, awards me with a promotion. Like that, so many things had happened, for no fault of us, we were taken into task, we were penalized. So many good things and bad things which we have named it as good and bad had happened in our life. And we develop affinity or aversion or prejudice against those persons. Hardly we bring in that God has got His own purpose in making us to go through that experience. Now, when having come in contact with a spiritual guru, we are trying now to stitch everything together and trying to understand. Not that we have understood, we are trying to understand something behind everything that had happened in my life. And every time during my past moments when I sit back and look at it, I will clearly see the thread is there. First tangible gain is His nearness. Second tangible gain is His presence in us. Though He keeps us to forget about Him very often, for reasons known to Him. All these words, touch and kindle so many such things. So, he said, steadily we have to practice concentration of thought on God until we feel His nearness, samipyam. Until we become aware of His presence, sanidhyam. Until we have the vision of Him everywhere around about us, vyapanam. Until we realize our oneness with Him, ekatvam. All these will definitely give a push to our spiritual journey. Immediately we may not be able to reach the nearness, the presence in us, the presence in everybody, and becoming one with Him. But when we keep on thinking about it and trying to bring His hand in everything, going back to our own past life and finding the missing link, we were till now, we were only thinking them as good people or not good people, good circumstances, not good circumstances, like that, good objects, not good objects. But now we know He has made us to go through that for reasons known to Him only. And our masters say that He is putting us on a process of purification. It will take time for us to reconcile with it. But this is the truth. So today, we will read this, come back to it tomorrow also. So we have to practice concentration of thought on God until we feel His nearness, until we become aware of His presence, until we have the vision of Him everywhere about us, until we realize our oneness with Him. So we have to graduate from devotees to sadhakas. Doubts may then arise whether this can be done while leading a normal family and professional life. With intense aspiration to realize Him, coupled with a high degree of dispassion, the sadhaka will be able to attain this state. The methodology is to chant His name with the right perspective, prayer and meditation, besides dedicating all the activities to Him. Methodology is to chant His name for remembering Him with the right, that is called right perspective, and prayer, the subservience to a higher power. That is why we pray to a higher power. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are asserting to ourselves, suggesting to ourselves that there is a higher power. Everything happens only because of that higher power. So, chanting to remember Him, prayer to make us subservient to that, and meditation to fill the gap between Him and. Meditation can be termed in any way, but as we understand from Papa's words, It is a method of reflection, contemplation, by which we try to free ourselves from our usual realm of thinking and getting ourselves connected to the core of our being. And besides, dedicating all the activities to Him at the family level, professional level, social level. True liberation, peace and bliss can come to a spiritual aspirant only when he or she combines the inner sadhana of remembrance and meditation with the outer dedication of actions to the divine. Alag alag nahi, they are one and the same. He has given us the right perspective, He is giving us a field. I may not be able to live up to, but I should know that I have been given the direction and I have been given a field for action. So that is why He said, combine the inner sadhana of remembrance and meditation with the outer dedication of actions to the divine. Every action performed in an impersonal spirit becomes a worship of God, free from vested interest. It is therefore incumbent for a sadhaka to be watchful and vigilant over the antics of the mind. If the mind is given free rein, sadhana would be impossible. It is also essential that the sadhaka should watch every step he takes on the spiritual path. Such a one must control thoughts, feelings, words, actions. His or her thoughts should always dwell on the oneness of all objects and things. The feeling should be pure, go out in love and sympathy towards the whole creation, and action should be a spontaneous outflow of the sadhaka's dynamic nature. The obstacles in the way of the sadhaka are self-centeredness, reliance on his puny strength and wisdom, his dependence upon the perishable and impotent objects of life deprives him of divine care and protection. His likes and dislikes, favors and prejudices set up a thick wall on his path. Suspicion, distrust, sensitiveness keep him always on the rack, giving him no rest and peace. He should fling himself into the infinite life. Meaning from the individual to the cosmic, He should fling himself into the infinite life. His individual sense must merge in the cosmic spirit. The harrowing pairs of opposites, good and bad, happiness and sorrow, right and wrong, have their way to let the mind keep oscillating. Therefore, it is stressed that the need for a sadhaka is to take his stand on the infinite reality, as that alone would keep him centered in the sadhana. The means to overcome this is, instead of allowing ourselves to be upset by the change in the transient, to fix our mind upon the deathless, formless, eternal truth. This is done only by stilling the mind, quitting of all waves of thought that trouble it. The path is the repetition of God's name and meditation and the surrender of all our actions to God. That is how the first chapter ends. A lot of manana should take place, Now we are trying to fine-tune, There are some missing links. All these years, Papa has taught us what is to be scaled, taught us what is the methodology to be employed, taught us what are the disciplines we have to simultaneously undergo. Some we were able to keep up, some we were not able to keep up. That is why probably we all feel we are not moving with the speed with which we should have been moving. Because always we remember, we have many a time shared, Papa took only 2 years to scale the heights, 1920 to 1922. We have been associating with these thoughts, doing in our own possible ways for the past 3 or 4 or 5 decades or 6 decades. Where are we now? So that keeps not to demotivate us, to fine tune. No? Our priorities were something else. So naturally that intensity will not be there. But now he is slowly drawing us to fix our priority on this. Now we will try, instead of grumbling over what had happened all these days. Why not we now try? So the sadhaka and the devotee, and then no lukewarm enthusiasm, then always try to link ourselves with the divine author. He is our origin. He has been the sustainer. Previously, when we were reading from universal prayer, probably we would not have understood properly. Oh, Lord of the universe, creator, protector, destroyer of the world. No, we did not have much idea. Now when we say creator, with all that Papa has been feeding us now, that means we become conscious of the Lord's words. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. So I am the creator, I am the actuator, I am the one who has given you life. Creator, protector. The one right from the seed level up to this level. There is nothing that I can arrogate, I have brought it. He has been protecting me, sustaining. And then we also see that the sense of individuality has a beginning and an end. It is not destroyed. The assembling and dismantling keeps on going on. No? In a factory you can find so many things are being assembled and it becomes a product for their sale. And when it is under repair, when the same pump, diesel pump or anything, then we go to the workshop, the first thing they do is dismantle to find out which are all the defective portions. And if it is beyond repair, they will come and report, condemn it, not worth. So in that way, though we get diseases, some repair is going on through medical science, and when it goes beyond, it is condemned. So that name, destroyer of the world. So we get that idea. Actually, he is not destroying it. He keeps on assembling and dismantling, because the forms do get changed. So like that, we try to go back and try to understand and link it with our life, And then that 4 steps, nearness, presence, feeling his presence in everybody, and finally to become one with him. So these are all the important points that was covered in today's. More of it we will take it up tomorrow. Let us try to link it with our life so far lived. Then only it will become a sadhana. Otherwise it is we have heard so many things, we are also hearing this, that's all. But if we try to link it and connect it with this life so far lived, slowly it will be entering into our life. Not a theory.
Swamiji,
Ah.
2 G's are nearby, Guru and Govind.
Ah.
And it is in me. Already is in me.
Already?
All of Guru, Govind are in me.
Ah.
Always.
Ah.
So why am I sick? I need not sick. He is in me.
Achha, if they have reached it, there is no question. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
This is for people like us who have not reached, Guru and Govind are there within us, but we should become aware of their presence always,
Yes, always.
We may get, when Papa was asked, why I have been chanting Ramnam for 30 years. When he was in Rishikesh, Swami came and asked, how long you have been? Papa was bubbling with joy. So how long you have been chanting? Papa said 2 years. I have been chanting for 30 years, but I have not got this. So the devotee asked, when Papa was narrating this, God is doing everything, chanting in your form, chanting in his form, making it to chant. So Papa immediately said that he should know, he should know that he is making me to chant.
Yes.
The moment he comes to know that he is making me to chant, he has reached the destination. Guru and Govind are within us, but we should know all the time that Guru and Govind are there. Govind is there as the eternal being. Guru is there as the guide. He has been guiding us. He is also the goal. So I should become always aware of it, no? If I don't become aware of it, I still feel I am doing it. So though that statement is good, but the statement makes us to think more seriously about it. Acha, now Guru and Govind, you have made me aware that you are within me. Why don't you make me aware behind every thought, every word, every deed? Then we have reached the destination. More about it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om to everybody.
I disconnected it without my knowledge.
Okay, the timing is okay. They may be wondering why abrupt. The other one is there. That's even here.
I can do it later. I keep it here only. This is extension box. Very good. I'm making this very helpful, no? ಮುಕ್ತ